Hello YouTube, today at powerjackrepair.org we got an ASUS FX507, FX507zi-f15. ZI, it seems like, yeah. So I had a similar motherboard here for the repair and already made a video on how to fix the motherboard. If you send us just the motherboard, this video is about how to take the laptop apart and see if it's gonna work. Now, the problem here is that usually what happens is the inside of this DC plug, that's common for all of those ASUS that have that tiny pin inside. So the inside where you see the shiny barrel, it becomes oxidated. So if you see any yellowing inside of this plug, any yellowing, usually you just want to replace the power supply and everything should work fine. However, people don't seem to notice that yellowing, don't seem to notice that orangey stuff inside. So what happens is that oxidation eventually breaks the connector right here. And the client already got the new power supply because it's, you see, like when it's wrapped like that, it's brand new. And but the system still has issues, or maybe it doesn't work at all. I don't check the system if it powers up or not when I receive it. I just go ahead and work on it. So today I have a new lighting setup. Hopefully that's going to be a better light. But it seems like it's coming from this angle, so there's more light here and less light there. Not sure if I'm going to be able to manage it somehow in the future. We will see. Anyway, so I have to experiment with something about if you're gonna reduce the light a bit. About like that. Like that. Maybe. Not sure. We will see how the video are gonna be turning out in the future. All right, so let me take it apart, replace the connector. And again, basically the connector wears out because this plug gets oxidated. And the connector wears out because the two inner springs, they kind of get pushed inwards. I have a video on this channel with the motherboard where I was explaining the connector issue for this particular model. And there is nothing you can do about it other than pack it up, ship it this way, and to make it work or fix it yourself. All right, so let's take it apart. This screwdriver is a lot more silent, so I don't have to go in and out on the microphone as much. All right, seems to be all good. Right. All right, so they are different sizes, right? So we got two long ones right here and here. We got a shorter one right there. We got a shorter one right there. This is a shorter one, shorter. And this is a shorter one. And that's a shorter one. Another short one. And this is a short screw. Is it a short screw? Well, this is a really short screw. Hold on one second. Well, this one is different from all the other short screws, right? Yeah, it seems like Seems like this screw is different from all the other screws. So short, long one right here. And that's all right. So the shortest one is right here. All the other ones are short. Two long ones are right there. Okay. You will need that when you will. Oops. All right. Client information was inside the laptop. Had to remove it here. Trying to find a nice location to start the spreader. All right. Okay. Oh wow, so clean. I haven't seen a laptop so clean in in years probably. All right, good. That's usually I spend like half an hour cleaning everything up, but here, one thing to keep in mind here, how's the lighting first of all. Again, too bright here, not too bright right here, right? I'll have to mount it to the ceiling or something. All right, so let's see. The battery connector. We fix a lot of battery connectors here because people don't know how to disconnect this battery connector properly. The best way to disconnect this battery connector is not to disconnect it at all. You want to just remove this connector here, like that, outwards, all right? But the best way to disconnect this connector, if you're doing it yourself, is to slide this metal piece right here to the side. Not too much out, but just slightly bit. And lift up the connector this way, all right? If you rip off this connector, we charge pretty much the same thing. But again, if you're disconnecting this cable, just disconnect it here, all right? Now, one big problem with this screwdriver, I always lose where it's at. All right, so somebody already took it apart before, it seems like, because the seal is broken. No big deal. Most of the laptops I get here already been worked on. So right there. And we're gonna put it right there. Okay, so touchpad disconnect right here. Keyboard disconnect right there. We kind of want to lift the cable upwards and out. Speaker. Disconnect right here, and I want to probably remove it because it's going to be standing in the way when I'm going to be removing the motherboard. Well, there's something else. Well, I guess I need to remove the cable underneath here. I don't get many of this particular model here. Yeah, so like a year ago I got the motherboard. So by the way, what model is it? I mean, I get sorry, ASUS. Okay, ASUS. I mean, the jack I get a lot, but this particular model I don't get that much. Maybe it's a newer model. Not all of them broken yet, but here we wanna lift up the cable for the USB. Cable going to the motherboard. From the USB daughter board, we want to disconnect it by lifting up this cable, lifting out that cable like that. How's the light? Maybe the light would be better like that. No, I will play with the light a bit more in the future. It's hard to find the balance with the light when it's a first try. All right, so we got a screwdriver here, screw here. Another screw right there. All right. Nobody took the heatsink before. Strange. Somebody did. Okay, never mind. All right. So here we got the cable for the screen. Sorry for the interruptions. I get an AC blowing here so hard that we got super hot weather right now. All right, so here you want to disconnect this cable here. Let's disconnect this cable right there. Okay. That. Good job, they're all the same size. So we disconnected this cable here. Now you probably want to disconnect this guy right there. Lift up this guy and like that. All right. Need to memorize how this is routed here. Okay. Yeah, this slide doesn't work out. Anyways, for the next videos, I will make sure to redo it somehow. Okay. Same screw size here. I want to disconnect that. All right. I got two SSD drives here. So I want to mark 1, 1 and 2, 2. Okay. Let's put it like that. And let's put it like that. Good job. Excellent. Now let's get this guy out. This is the Wi-Fi card, which we're gonna right there. Disconnect the cables far away, like that. I guess it will come out only when I get the motherboard out, because it's kind of flat going in there. All right, so here we got the fan. Here we got a fan right there. Okay. All right, looks good to me. Now I wonder if I could just remove the motherboard with the heatsinks on, or I can't do so. All right, so we don't have any cables underneath the motherboard. Set this aside. Okay, so we're looking at the jack right here. There is no damage anywhere here, so I assume the damage is internal. I mean, it looks good from every single side. All right. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna disconnect this Wi-Fi like that, and I wanna set it aside so I wouldn't forget to connect it back before putting it back in. And I'm gonna remove the heatsink because that's the way I like to do it without the heatsink on. I just hope this is not a liquid metal underneath it, because if it's a liquid metal, I don't like to deal with liquid metal. You can see my videos why I don't like to deal with liquid metal. It's a new cooling technology, and I'm not impressed by it. Alright. It's just easier for me to handle the motherboard while I'm working on it when the heatsink is off. And if you're sending just the motherboard, take the heatsink off, make sure you got a new thermal paste. And the new thermal paste just for here and for here. Don't thermal paste the rest of it. Alright, so let's see if this is gonna be an easy separation for the heatsink or not. Ooh, found some dust right there. Okay, so good thing I'm taking the heatsink off. Okay. 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 Yeah, good. It doesn't have a liquid metal, so we're all good here. That's what I like to see. Okay, so this is gonna go here. And I will clean up the heatsinks and the fans a bit later. All right, the memory chips I usually leave in there. They don't get damaged during the, they never get damaged during the soldering, desoldering. Those clips I usually close down because I don't want them to break while I'm handling. There's a lot of hair of someone's hair here. Yeah, it's all right there basically. Okay, so the way how I'm gonna remove it is I'm gonna insulate the area around here. Right here I'm gonna insulate it. Usually I use like either a Kapton tape or a 3M tape that's made for the furnaces. But on this one I see there are some small components nearby and I don't want them to come off with the 3M tape. So I'm just gonna use a regular foil. Right, so this is how the insulation looks like. I covered every single component nearby so that it wouldn't fly off. I need to do some adjustments here. I'm not touching the motherboard, I'm just touching the foil with the screwdriver. The reason being is I don't want the screwdriver to come in contact with the pads where I'm gonna be desoldering. One other thing I need to do is I need to remove all of the thermal compound from the CPU and GPU because it's all over my desoldering. You see, it's already been everywhere. Right, so remove the insulation here and here, not the insulation, the how you call it, the grease, thermal compound grease. There's some hair from the heatsink. Let me clean that up too. Yeah, no, I mean this light is obnoxious. It's just in my face. All right. The link to this toothbrush you can find at the link below. I'm just kidding. No, there is no link below for a toothbrush. Anyways, where was I? Let's make it like that. All right, let's prepare the soldering wick needs to be cut before we're gonna work on desoldering anything. All right. So the first thing I do is I put whole bunch of lugs. All right. Onto the all right. So we're gonna warm it up. And at the same time, we're gonna add some leaded base solder. Leaded base solder gonna mix with the unleaded base solder. And it's gonna lower the melting temperature quite a lot. And without the damaging motherboard, we're gonna be able to just take it off the motherboard. Right, so what I did was I added a little bit more temperature. And a little bit more temperature gonna allow me to drop this guy from the motherboard in no time. All right. All right, have to do it by hand too. That way I have much more control on where the hot air is blowing. All right. And that's the way you remove the connector from the motherboard without damaging any traces to the motherboard, on the motherboard. All right. So what I do next is I still gonna flood the soldering points with this solder. All right. With the leaded base solder, so that it would be easier to desolder stuff, so that the solder would flow more easier. And what's going on there? Right, so I need to make sure that the area where I desolder has some hot air blowing on top of it. All right. Now, the amount of hot air right now is like minimal. Most of the desoldering is done by the gun. The hot air allows the solder to flow more freely on the desoldering wick, mostly. So I don't have to heat up the desoldering wick as well as the pad underneath it. Everything is nice and warm. All right. Good job. Let me take a look at the other side. Oh, the other side didn't penetrate as well. Right, so what I want to do on the other side is I want to add some flux here. And right there are two pads that are not nice and empty. We want to... And now you see this side did not get penetrated by the leaded base solder. That's the reason I still have some remains of the unleaded base solder here. It didn't get penetrated by... Oh, wait. Yeah. Am I good? Am I rolling? Yeah, I'm rolling. All right. Good job here. All right. Let's take a look on the microscope. All right, we got something right there. Let's take a look. What's that? I think it's just the foil on the other side. I might be wrong, but it's quite easy. Here is everything nice and good. Now I don't want to do any more stress on this motherboard when it comes to the heating up. So I think we're good. I think we're golden. Oh yeah, so that was the foil. So this foil got into here, and the foil prevented this thing to melt from melting all the way. Anyways, let me go get a new connector like that. Let me take a look inside of the connector. As you can see, you don't see the pins that's supposed to be on the inner of the barrel. Let me bring the new connector and show you what I mean. Not sure if I was recording while I was comparing the old connector to the new connector, so let's redo it again. Yeah. So, as I was pointing out again, I'm not sure if it was recording or not recording. You see this bump on the new jack, and you see this bump on the new jack, that bump, and that bump, and that bump right there, and then that bump on that flat lines, on the flat springs. On here, you don't see a single bump on any of those flat springs. And you can't see anything even on the positive end, so that's the reason why it doesn't make contact with the positive end, which is right here and right there. You see, this is positive right here, positive and positive. The negatives are this one, and that one on the sides, all right? So that's the reason why this connector gonna work much longer than this connector. Right. So yeah, making a video is usually just makes everything much longer. All right, for some reason it doesn't want to go in. All right, now it went into place. Alrighty, so what I do now is I try to solder something from the top while it's in the resting position on the motherboard. The reason I'm trying to do that so it's not gonna get, you know, pushed in from the bottom. So what I need to do here is grab smaller soldering iron. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. That's good. Now I can solder it from this end. Let's solder it from this end. Alrighty. Now this connector needs to be soldered from both sides because the board is thick, it dissipates the heat really well. The solder doesn't get penetrated through the motherboard. Let me show you what I mean by that. You see right there, the rear pins are not all the way through. Even though the positives penetrated, the negative didn't penetrate. There is no negative on this side, so I'm not really worried about the negative not being penetrated. No big deal. And I probably don't even want to touch the negative because I don't want to overflow the negative to begin with. Here, hold on. I can think and work at the same time. Sorry, just like, hold on 1 second. Right, you see this is a positive trace and this is a negative leg. So it doesn't have to be soldered quite well to this pad here. So this is more than enough right there, all right? Minimal soldering. But this is a positive pad, so it needs to be soldered here for sure. This pad here is also negative. So my concern are those two positive that are not looking amazing, all right? The negatives are fine on the other side. That's where they're supposed to conduct the electricity. So let's All right, so this is beautiful right here, and this is beautiful. Okay, this is what I wanted. Beautiful. All right, let's do the other side. Beautiful and beautiful. All right, now just so that I won't have any negative comments, I will do the same thing here on the negative sides, the negative connections. All right, good job. But it's for you, it's better not to touch them because you see you got those small components on the top. You don't want to mess those small components the top side. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So you see how everything is nice and beautiful. And everything is beautiful here. There seems to be something here. All right. That's amazing. This is an amazing job. I don't think anybody else can do something like that for that kind of money here where I'm at. So we're gonna clean this thing up. Clean it up, dry it up, and where is the brush? All right, and this is better than you. Beautiful. Now you don't want to scrub anything here heavily because the components might just come off the motherboard. I'm just removing the flux, which is a no clean flux, but still I end up cleaning it all the time. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's beautiful. Let's clean up this mess right here. Let's get a Kimtech wipe and let's clean up this stuff. Even though Kimtech wipe is a no residue wipe, it still left a lot of all right. I'm not really happy with the cleaning of this thing, so let's do one more time. Like that. Saturate the plugs. Clean it with the no clean wipe, Kimtech wipe. Alright, now it's nice and clean. And we're gonna air dry it. And let it sit for some time. Alright. Beautiful. Anyway, so I'm gonna air dry it. Then I'm gonna air dry it on one of the bigger blowers. After lunch, I will continue putting it back together. All this fuss is attached to the no clean flux that's supposedly to be a no clean flux. All right. I want to make sure that nothing is next to the capacitors, because capacitors is what usually shorts things out. All right. Anyways, again, I will dry it out one more time. Probably gonna clean it one more time. You know what, let me just clean it one more time right here. Because all this fluffy fluff isn't something I like. All right. And then I'm gonna air dry it again. I'm not gonna bore you with the rest of it. Alrighty, so I had my lunch. Everything is nice and dry. I just wanna clean up all this hair. All right. And we wanna clean up the heatsink here and here. Alrighty, everything is nice and clean. Let me bring in the heatsink. Alright, let's install the board in first. And then I'm gonna install the heatsink second. Where is the... Is that the way how it goes? Or it's not the way how it goes. Should be a little bit more this way. Like that. You wanna make sure that this cable is up this way. Alright, so we got a cable here and we got one cable right here. And we got this cable right here that you don't want to break off. Oh, yeah, duh, I forgot about something. I forgot about this chip right here. You see, it's better to do everything in one run. Alright, instead of running the video over the course of the day or two. Okay. So right like that. Come on. Like that, and close that. Okay. And we want to open up this. And we want to insert that right there. Close that. Well, I'm not quite sure if it went in all the way. I think it went in all the way. Okay, it did go in all the way. Okay, close that. Open this. Close that. Wonderful. And close that. I'm not sure it didn't do this. Let's see. Yeah, all pins are intact. Okay. It just is a strange way how this one closed down in there. All right. So we got here, and this one gonna go into here. And this gonna go into right there. Okay. And we're gonna put the screw like that. Okay. We're gonna open up both of those guys here and attach this like that. Like that. Good job, good job. Okay. Okay, so this one goes into the second slot. Yeah, like that. That's this guy. This is gonna go right here. SSD chip, each one was marked. This one was marked with 1. This one was marked with 2. Good job. Throw away this. Okay. All right, so it's time to strange. The screw doesn't fit in there, probably because of the 2 screws from the top. All right, so we're gonna put this here like that. I assume we can just install the fans first and then put the yeah, looks correct, right? And then we're gonna just put this on top of that, and here we're gonna clean up this area right here. Good job. Okay. Thermal paste goes here. Good job. Okay. Okay. I'm just making sure that the entire crystal is covered. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, except right here. All right. Crystal is covered. You wanna put in this upside down, make sure that this cable is up. And here is this cable supposed to be this way, that way. Good job. Excellent. 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 Beautiful. All right. We are almost at an hour. Okay. Okay, so the fan is fine. This fan is fine as well. What I need to do is I need to connect this VGA cable here. Okay, so which one is the first one that's gonna go in? So this is the one here. This is one. This is two. Right. This is three. And that's four. And this is five. And five is actually right here. And this is six. Oh, 7, 6, 7. All right. Okay. 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 Don't over torque those screws, because if you over torque them, you're gonna break the nut right there. Okay, so what else? We got a battery. All right, so we got one screw going in here. We got another screw going on right there. Probably got another screw right here. Okay. All right. We have 3 screws here. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, looks good. Looks good, wonderful. Beautiful. Connected, 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 connected. Connected, 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 connected. All right. No missing screws. Okay, so that's a good thing. I know this video probably not get too many views, so because this is a rare system, extremely rare system. Ooh, what's that? No way. Oh, okay. Yeah, good. No big deal. It's all good. I was thinking I installed some sort of improper connector. It's all good. So 2 long screws right here, here and here, and oh, what is that? Is that the shortest one? Yeah, that's the shortest one. Goes right here. Okay. Okay, good. All right, let's see if this thing gonna work. Let's make sure that there is nothing. ASUS TUF GAMING F15. All right, so let's put in right here TUF Gaming F15. TUF, TUF. All right. Okay. Moment of truth. So this is no light right here. See, no light for the repair light. That is. Do we have a light someplace? Is it one of those ASUS without the light for the charge light, or what? How do I know if it's charging? That's the question. Yeah, I guess we'll have to try the power button. And nothing. Okay, on the screw right here, something is this screw is pinching through. So maybe the power supply is brand new. It's not connected well. Something here. Oh, strange. Nothing, no light. Did this screw penetrate too much in? Probably did. Oh, we got something someplace. Right there we got light. So 12 amps, 240 watts. Yeah, 12 amps, 240 watts is what the system needs. Let's see. So we do get light right there. Here, disconnect, connect, right there. All right, good job. So something's going on here. The keyboard lights up. Let's see if you're gonna get something on the screen. Yeah, still searching for incredible. All right, let's load it up. And the goal is right there. You see it shows that it's charging right here, right there, charge light. You can see the charge light on the 4K screen, on the big screen TV, right there, charging. All right. This is, well, anyways, and we got the picture. All right, we got the picture. I wanna test the touchpad. The Wi-Fi is still good. Yeah, and we got keyboard is fine. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you got exactly the same system. You know how to take it apart, how to replace the jack, what the problem is with the connector. So if you send us just the motherboard and you get it back and it doesn't work, make sure to look inside the tip of this power supply, of that power adapter. Make sure it's not orangey, not yellowish, because if it's orangey and yellowish, it's not going to conduct electricity to the new jack either. So, and you're going to still wiggle it. Oh, where did you go? Okay. We're still in business. So it's still not going to conduct the current to the new jack that we install on the motherboard. And make sure this power supply, the new power supply, has the power plugged in all the way right there. Because if it's not all the way, it's not going to be recognized by the computer. And this plug is falling out of this brick for some reason, and I have to push it in there like really hard. All right, and it's still coming out. So yeah. All right, so if you have no power from the new brick, it's because this adapter is not all the way, this AC cord is not all the way in, and you have to put a lot of force on it. All right, so looks good. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and you guys take care and have a good day. Thank you. Bye.